Okay, the first two problems did take quite a long time, so I'm going to try to get through more in these next few videos. Okay, so we went through this one already. Now we're on to this one. I'm not going to go over the one on the left side. I feel like we're okay with this. We kind of just went over it. Here we're asked to find all horizontal and vertical asymptotes of any of the rational functions. So in the examples, you're given these polynomials that are factored nicely. So what you do for your vertical asymptote is set the denominators equal to 0 separately, and you need the x equals 1 and the x equals 3. For your horizontal asymptote, if you could see right from the beginning that it would end up being 2 as the ratio, that's fine. If not, you should go ahead and multiply the binomials together, and then you'll get this trinomial. Now, the reason the horizontal asymptote is y equals 2 is because their degrees are equivalent, so you take the ratios of their leading coefficients. For the next one, again, you set the denominator equal to 0. You end up with -1 as your answer. So that's okay. That's your vertical asymptote. You only have one vertical asymptote. And then here you have a horizontal asymptote. The degrees are equivalent, so you take the ratio. Okay, now going on to the examples. We have our first one here. We're given this rational function, x squared minus 2x plus 1 over x squared times x minus 3. Now, number one, we need to factor the numerator and denominator just to see if anything cancels. It doesn't. Now we factor the numerator. We need two numbers that multiply to 1 and add to -2. You can put this in your calculator too, just so you know. The denominator is already nicely factored for us. So the next thing we need to do, figure out our vertical asymptote. So what we do here is we set the denominator equal to 0. Oh, goodness. Okay. And when we do that, we get x squared equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. So our vertical asymptotes are x equals 0 and x equals 3. For our horizontal asymptotes, the degree of the denominator is greater than the degree of the numerator. So we have a horizontal asymptote of y equals 0. On to the next one. So first, we have to factor our polynomial. So we can factor a 2 from the numerator. We have to factor both of our polynomials. So we are going to factor a 2 out of the numerator. We get 2 times x squared plus 5x minus 6. I haven't done anything with the denominator just yet. So in this step now, I factor the numerator and denominator. The numerator factors is x plus 6 times x minus 1. 6 times -1 is -6. 6 minus 1 is 5. And then the denominator is x plus 3 times x minus 2. 3 times -2 is -6. 3 minus 2 is 1. So now I can go ahead and determine my vertical asymptotes. So here we're going to find our vertical asymptotes by setting our denominator equal to 0. So we have x, oh, wrong information here, sorry. We have x plus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0. So x plus 3 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. So our two vertical asymptotes are -3 and 2. Now our horizontal asymptote, now if we go back to our original problem, the degree of our numerator is equal to the degree of our denominator. So we can actually just go ahead and take the ratio of the numerator over the denominator. So our horizontal asymptote is y equals 2.